Hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar about Naviate and Civil 3D 2026. It's me, Thomas, and Caroline here today, as usual. Starting off with some news in Civil. Civil 2026. It's been out for a while. We're going to talk briefly about that one, partial surface data shortcut references, surface performance enhancements, the new model viewer, also tech preview of Autodesk drainage analysis, some Dynamo enhancements, and rail workflow enhancements. The two last ones here we will not look into today. But let's jump into the first one. It's pretty simple actually, but I think it's going to have quite a good, nice effect on your performance, especially when you work with large surfaces. So it's another way of limiting your surfaces. So you can add a boundary sort of to your surface when you are creating the data shortcut reference. So when you're referencing the surface, you have reference part of the surface. You can then either pick an existing polyline, or you can draw it before it's inserted. You can also add this reference boundary afterwards when it's been imported. You right-click on the surface and select Add Reference Surface, and note that you then also will have to run the other Update Reference Surface here to get the surface to be limited or bounded. Surface performance enhancements, rebuilding corridor performance when using surface as target has been improved. Surface analysis, when we have those styles with surface analysis, also there improved performance, and also there's been some issues sometimes when you hovered over surfaces with contours that had a large number of vertices. That has also been addressed. So pretty strong news about the partial surface data reference, I would say. Next thing is the new model viewer. So it's a new kind of 3D viewer. It allows you to add objects into this viewer. So hopefully many of you have used the object viewer, I guess. The problem there, I mean, that one works on any kind of object, but the problem, I would say, is selecting and deselecting, and it locks Civil and so. So here you can look at surfaces, corridors, solids, and 3D AutoCAD objects, not all Civil objects, so mainly these, I would say. The beauty is that it's modeless, and modeless means that the window can be open, the model viewer window can be open and placed on another screen if you have multiple screens and so, and you can still work in Civil, and you can add and remove stuff. Yeah, so you can add the stuff, you can remove the stuff, corridors and surfaces, and so back and forth in the model viewer. You can also use Zoom to and set view to either set the view in model viewer or back the model viewer view to Civil. Pipe networks, yes, I do believe so. I only played with these especially here. Let's try. Should be there, I think.
Yes, they are there. I tried this morning, but yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
My memory was a bit short there. I didn't play with it before with those.
And
Yep.
they do update when changed, so it's a direct link to the objects.
Yeah, precisely. Good. So let's open a new drawing, that one. existing, come on. So let's look at the model viewer. Sorry for the delay there. So I'm going to be picking some of our features also here. I have a lot of graphics here, so I'm going to go to Naviate Road. I'm going to show slope patterns off. I want to turn off the slope patterns on this on this corridor here, so I more easily can get the stuff I want to select. So let's now select the surface. This is a corridor surface. I'm going to right click and we have add to model viewer there. And that opens this model viewer dialog, in which, I mean, it looks pretty much like the object viewer. So let's see what we can do. So I can zoom and pan, of course. I can add other stuff. Let's add another surface in here as well. Add to model viewer. I can turn on and off objects. So maybe I don't want to see the existing ground right now. I can turn it on. Again, I can also right click and do remove. You see pan and zoom to and so on. Also, in Naviate, we have the feature of hiding surfaces and so. So if I hide the surface here, you'll see it still is visible in the model viewer. And as you see, I can be working in both windows. Let's add the corridor I have here as well. So adding that one to the model viewer as well. As we had the question about the pipes, let's actually select those as well just to see them in there. Let's add to model viewer. Yes, there they are. So let's go back to the corridor. So this is interesting here. I'm going to turn off the surface. So depending on the code set style you have on the corridor, this is going to happen if you use the standard one that we use in the Swedish counter kit. So I only see lines. So then I, of course, start thinking, what have I missed? So I'm going into sections or settings and tweaking settings for the corridor. See the rendered surfaces, but nothing actually happens here. So the question is why? Let's select the corridor once again. There, only that one. So we can see that it really works differently depending on the settings in the code set style. So I'm going to switch to the Swedish old codes. And there we should see suddenly the rendered surfaces appearing. So let's just briefly explore what controls this, because I think that many of you would like to see a corridor in there. So I'm going to set it to that one again. And let's have a look at the settings. I'm going to go to multipurpose styles, code set styles, and I'm going to tweak this one, render in 3D. So the first you think, at least me or I did, I selected all the links and I wanted to see what's going to happen now. So this one says no display, don't display links. So sorry for the Swedish or you UK people here. And I think we saw some Finns also, right, Caroline? So I'm going to change this one to standard. There it is. So all links turn to standard. And notice that if I press apply, nothing happens. So I need to exit dialogues for model viewer to update. So now we could see that some were controlled by the links, but not all. I'm going to go back once again, edit the code set style. This time I'm going to turn to the shapes, which at first was not my guess, but we learned that that was the case. So it does display the shapes and use the colors of those. So that's how you control it. We're going to look into more with this about the standards in our templates and try to set up some reasonable settings to allow better viewing in the model viewer. So now we can see that if I turn those off, I now see the sections, and if I turn those off, I don't see them. And of course the feature lines as well. So that's basically what we had in there. Were there any more questions, Caroline? Or
No, no more questions.
no? Good. Then we.
I can just say, because I tested when I got the question, 3D polylines and X-strips I can add to it, but not 2D polylines.
No.
That can add to the model viewer. So it has some limitation in what you can view there. Just
Yeah.
so you know.
Yeah, it's the same. I noticed, for instance, I could not add.
Okay.
No, I could. That's strange.
Yeah.
Maybe that was another. I can't do multiple. one point I could. Okay, yeah, I tried that because I tried to add multiple points. So some kind of strange limitation. Okay, moving on. Next thing would be, so let's continue here. The drainage analysis. So notice that they say Autodesk says this is in what's new, but it is a tech preview. So it says it's a tech preview. And also notice that it is a separate install. So it's not going to install when you install Civil. It's going to install you need to enter manage.autodesk.com to install it. It handles ponds and channels, should be displayed here and here. It handles underground storage, like this one there. It handles analysis of pipes and flows, and it has rainfall in here. Now, as it is a tech preview, we're not going to dive into this one more. If you're interested, it is available for download. We have it under investigation, but so far I can say that we're deep dived into it until it's going to be released as a full version. So those were the news we wanted to talk about when it comes to 2026. So over to Naviate. Naviate Civil 3D 2026. .1. I'll explain why so. So it's been released today. Surprise. Yeah. So we just now released it, uploaded it. So it is available on our download page on naviate.com. We will soon release it in the beginning of next week as 2025-26.1. And now you see our new numbering system. It was first launched in the previous version released this spring, which we call 25.3. So this is this version will only be released for 2025 and onwards. So 25 and 26 are the versions that we now will continue working on. So this version will not be released for Civil 24 and earlier. So if you have 22 to 24, we direct you to the version called 25.3. So that's the case. Any comment on this is, of course, welcome if this messes it up truly for you. But for most customers, we kind of see that they are either on 25 or planning to go to 26 during this year. So getting over to new features, and maybe I should now turn off my camera. Okay, so one of the new features in our version 26.1 is the Naviate Command List search. And I'll pop over immediately to show what that is. And this is, so we've had people asking, how do I find, or yeah, actually interesting. We have, maybe you do know that we have an ideation portal. In here you can type or enter IDs that you have. Could you please create a function that does this, or could you tweak that function there to do this instead, or so. And quite often, actually, we get IDs that already exist in Naviate. So we were thinking, how do we get people to understand what we have, to know what we have? So we created Naviate Command List. So this one should default into this page here. This allows me to search for the commands in Naviate. So here is the list of all commands in Naviate, or at least in the Naviate ribbon. You can see that we have tags. Let's look at the pipe, base, road. I've played a little bit with this one, but normally you would have pipe, base, road, landscape, and traffic. So let's try to find what pipe commands we have. And then we have a filtering. And right now you can type basically one word or one sentence. We will expand this one later. But I can type solid. And now I can see what can civil or what can Naviate do with pipes and solids. And those are the commands that we do in some way handle solids. And if I select one of those commands, I see the information on it. I see the help string, which is the same as it is in the ribbon. And now this one says it's on the Naviate English version, Naviate pipe and create. So if I now would go here and look, I can see Naviate pipe, create, and there I have clearance solids. And that's the tooltip there. That's what it actually is displaying. So what can we do with this more than just finding it? Well, we can start it. So I can right-click and do run command. And I can then select the objects. I can run the command. I won't do it now. This one creates solids that are creates a thicker solid than the pipe, so you can then run collision checks for the clearance around the objects. And once I end the command, I'm going to come back to this dialog. And this is modeless also, so I can zoom, I can work, and I can have this lying on another screen than the one than my main screen. I can also right-click and select Add to Favorites. And notice also that when I do this, I can type things in here, and I can actually add this one to my favorites. And I can then either create my own, like this one, calls favorite, or I can create another one or add to any one of these. I can have my own favorites file. I can have my let's add it to company favorites file, so we can say to people, okay, these are the 10 top commands that we use from Naviate. So let's add that one in there. It's going to default over to that one. And now I did this twice, but it still works. Okay, so hopefully, and we will continue with this one. We didn't we finalized the link. So down here, we're going to add in a later version links to videos, maybe webinars, YouTube videos, maybe different kind of posts. So you will be able to find more information of the different commands. Okay, moving on. Hopefully that's going to help you categorize. And yeah, actually, we also have the same kind of questions sometimes coming from our colleagues. Can we do this? Can we do that? So Eric, if you're there, you were one of those hotshots trying to find new stuff. Explore this one. Let us know if it assists you in finding new items in Naviate. Okay, next thing in Naviate base or the base functionality. This is mostly Swedish, but it's importing property set from LandXML. And this is a special, it is international, I think, ISO TS 15143_4. We've developed this functionality together with Swedish BIM Alliance and Adtolo and SPG Geo. So their need was to, so let's see, I'm gonna switch over to that one. So their request was to be able to import property sets from LandXML. So LandXML can carry property sets, but Civil does not import them. So we did a certain functionality. So I'm going to run this standard import LandXML, and I'm going to import a test file that I got from TopoCAD. And it includes points and plan features. So it's some kind of survey. I have some duplicate point numbering in that one. I'm going to renumber it. And now it imports like this. And the interesting thing is that Civil creates its own property set with some information. And we're going to use the plan feature. Let's see, it's called plan feature name. And if it's the Kogo point, we're going to use the Kogo point there, Kogo point name. Either of those. And notice also that after the input, we actually know which file it is. So that's the file name. Maybe I should expand this one. So that's the file name and that's the path. So we just run the command here, property from LandXML, and we're going to find all objects that have a connection to a LandXML file, and we'll now import the property sets that's on them. While we do this, we actually also convert the layering, because this property set had a property set property for layer, and then we move that object to that layer. So it now fulfills the ISO standard there. And all information from TopoCAD or whatever the deliverer is, SPG or somewhere else, will be imported here. So an interesting cooperation there, I would say, with us and BIM Alliance. So now, Caroline, I think we're over to you. You're going to talk about our new property set functionalities, which we've done in cooperation with Sweco, and also some new features in piping, rotate pipe and slide structures. Are you ready, Caroline?
I am. So I'm going to share my screen, my entire screen, so you can see my Civil. So there we go. So I'm going to start with the property functionalities. Just going to keep an eye on the time here so we don't drag over too much. So the new functionalities that we have, it's all about sort of finding objects and making sure they are correctly filled in with the property set. As we get more and more into delivering IFC and IFC 4.3, property set become more and more important, because then that's the way that we can get information on our objects and report on them. So we have a couple of more functionalities around this. The first one is called Find Objects Without Property Set. This one basically can find everything that does not have a specific property set. So if I just say find everything that doesn't have my standard property set, and it's going to select everything, and we can see that it's quite few pipes here that has the property set I'm looking for. And it's just finding everything in the drawing so that I can do something else with it, put it like that. So that's the first one. The second one is called Report Objects with Faulty Properties. Now this one is a bit interesting, because if I take a look at my objects here, I have property set on top of these, but I may not have filled it in correctly. As we can see here, I have a status that's called tiger. That's not correct. It might also be that I've misspelled something, or I've added something in erroneous here, because these are open fields that you can fill in anything you have. So this one is designed to be able to find objects, or report objects rather, that has a faulty property. So I can run this on the command line. That's why I have the command line a bit larger right now. And it's good to have it like that when we do these functionalities, because then it's easier to sort of find the information. And you know why we print this stuff on the command line? That is so you can do exactly what I'm doing right now, where I can copy text between them, so I can easily find the objects that I'm looking for. So in this case, I'm asking us to check on status, and I'm going to say that the only code that is correct is new. All the others are erroneous. I can also say enter for file name, which means that I can say that a list of properties can be correct. And then I can report to a log file as well. So I can say that don't just select objects, but report to a log file. In my case right now, it's going to select everything that has the faulty property set, or the faulty property. The list that we can use is a normal CSV. And we've created it so that if you have lists, if I go to my Naviate support files, if you have lists already in our property set, and we have list definitions, if I take a look at, for instance, my status, I could tell the functionality to take a look at this one, and these settings will be the ones that are correct. So anything without this, or anything else but this, will be considered faulty. So you can do either one value or multiple values. And it's selecting them, and it's reporting them on the command line, those objects that have a faulty property. So that's two. Third one, prop set update. So we have here under property sets. So just going to do like that. And this one is to check the actual property set. So it might be because the property set is stored in the drawing, so we can update property sets. And we can actually check a property set against a standard XML. If you have one created from our export property set functionality, we can say compare this property set in the drawing to the original XML file. Do you want to add missing properties, and do you want to remove extra properties? And then I can also report to a log file. And it's doing it on in the drawing, and it's also reporting on the command line what it's done. So missing property, extra property removed. So you get that stuff on the command line here. And the final thing that we added is that we also have merge property sets, so we can combine property set, because we're informed, and we've seen it ourselves, but we were informed that it's quite common that you get multiples of this property set when you do data shortcuts, that you get this sort of repeated property set, and this could range in the hundreds. So we added a simple merge functionality where we can merge my property set. I'm going to add the name. And then the thing about copying on the command line is that you need to remember to place your cursor there. Then you can paste there. Otherwise, you come into paste clip. And then how many times should it run the merge command? So I need to have a ballpark number of the copies that I have. It just has to be more than what I have. So in my case, I know I have 10. I'll tell it to run 15 times, then I'm safe. And it's just going to run the merge how many times I've set it. And then if I go to my edit property set, I only have the one that is correct in this drawing. So these are the report functionalities that we had. And you notice that I said that it has on the command line, it said report to a report file. And that means that if I'm just going to close this one and not save it, I can run this as a script. So I'm going to open this one again. So now I haven't fixed anything in this file. It's the original faulty file. So I can run all of these via a script. So basically what I just did on the command line, I can run this as a script file, which is a text file. So I'm just going to run this one. The only difference that this script does that what I didn't do on the command line is that I always said that don't report anything. In this case, going to report everything to my report file. And the report file looks like this. I'm going to open my desktop. And we're going to see that I have going to go into there. I'm going to have a date modified. I have a report. So this one will contain all the information that I just ran, but it can also contain multiple runs. So if we go to the timestamp here, I can actually filter this one. We can see that I've run this multiple times and I get a timestamp for all of them. So you can run this multiple times and you can run them from multiple files. So you can actually, because I have a DWG here as well. So I can run this and I can sort of see, okay, how many errors do I have? Where do they come from? So I can actually script this to be run every day at the end of day or every Friday on all these files. And then I can do sort of an investigation. Do I have all the information that I'm looking for? Where is something missing? What objects are they? And stuff like that. So that is what we've done with the investigation. Can faulty properties also find objects that has nothing? Yes, good question. The faulty properties can also be nothing. So an erroneous property can be an empty property. So that's a good question to do, because that's something that we specifically wanted to make sure that the command can take care of as well. Good. So those were our property functionalities. Let's move over to pipe. So we have two functions. I'm actually just going to make sure that I have my pipe network, because this is a Finnish file. So
well, while you do that, Caroline, I also want to add that sometimes you might ask, why are these command line based, these commands? And it's due to ability to script, because quite often you want to run these on multiple files. So on our to-do list now is first to make them possible to run in ACAD Core, so they can be run actually without opening Civil. And another thing we're looking into is also having a script generator where you would more easily be able to select different options in the command and create the script. So it's on the to-do list. So yeah, any input here is of course very welcome. Thanks, Caroline.
Good. So we have two functions around that is brand new around pipes, and that is rotate pipes and slide structures. And I just noticed that I have the wrong name in the tooltip, so I need to change that as well. So rotate pipes. As the name says, we rotate pipe, and we can rotate pipes around a structure or around a pipe. So if I select my pipes, network parts rotor. So in this case, I have a district heating here, and I want to make sure that I get 90-degree bends here. So I want to rotate these two. I'm going to hit enter. I want to rotate around this pipe, because when I rotate around the pipe, I can make sure that I get a 90-degree bend. So around that pipe. And then it says connected pipe to keep direction 4. I'm going to select this pipe because I want to keep this direction. And I want to rotate this, and I'm going to lengthen this pipe so that they are still connected, but I'm going to keep this direction. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can say none, or I can select this one. And I'm also going to say keep the slope for that pipe. And now it's telling me that I have a 67 degrees angle there. I want this to be 90. I'm going to hit enter, and we can see that it's flipped. And we can also see that it's shortened this pipe, but it's kept direction for it. Now, remember, I tend to forget that you need to accept this new situation. Otherwise, you just leave and then you go escape, and then everything goes back. So always remember they need to accept it, and then it will update. Now you'll notice that I had an offset pipe network here, but that doesn't follow along. But my offset pipe network, as you know, creates this reference line, and that one is updated. So if I have this situation where I have a couple of pipes or duplicate pipes, I can run my update network by 3D Poly on that pipe, use my stored settings because I created it with offset pipe network, click OK, and then it's updating my companion pipe as well. So one of them I edit with rotate, one of them I edit with update offset network. It comes there. So that's rotate pipe that we can do. We can also rotate around a structure, and we can also use this for service pipes. So when it comes to service pipes, we can't rotate around a pipe because these two are not actually connected. So I have to rotate around the structure that I have here. But if I rotate around a structure, I assume that the rotation of the structure is 0. So I need to rotate this pipe. I'm just going to find my center there so that the structure is along my pipe. And now I can get a 90-degree angle here. And same thing, rotate pipes, select the pipe, enter to continue, reference structure, and then new rotation. And it's going to rotate that pipe. And again, remember accept. I've done so many times where nothing happens. So then we can use the rotate for this type of situation as well. Remember one thing, we need to have structures. And if you don't have structures, which you might not have with service pipes, you can use network recover to recreate structures that are missing. So that one is very easy to run if you're missing your structures. And it will tell you on the command line that you're missing structures. So that was my rotate pipes. And we can use this in multiple places. So in this case, I'm just going to show you one more because I think this one is really nice. If I just sort of sketched my layout, I can use rotate pipes for that one. Reference pipe, going to keep direction of the one up here, and then maintain the slope, have it at 270, and then accept, and it's updated. And then, of course, I can do update network for this one. And in this case, actually, I'm just going to show you this because I have a little bit of time. When I do offset network on this line, use my stored pipes, click OK, and nothing happens. And the reason for this is that I'm missing structures. And that is because I'm using null structures. So null structure has a tendency to disappear. So that is the first thing that you need to sort of think. If something is not functioning, probably you're missing null structures. But network recover, click on the pipe, 2 enters, and you have your null structures. So it's very easy to repair your network. And then it's also finding orphan structures. So I have structures somewhere, they're just not visible to me. And then I can use update offset. So we have this, sometimes we call it the toolbox, and that is really true when it comes to this. To sort of solve the problems that we have with the network. So final thing, I have 2 more minutes, is slide structure. So slide structure is about moving pipes and structures along another pipe. So in this case, I want to move both of these pipes. I just want to move them, sort of parallel move them along one of these pipes. So slide structure, I can select the pipe, even though it's called slide structures. If I select the pipe, it's going to pick up both of these structures. So I'm going to select both of these. I'm going to slide along one pipe. So one of them is going to shift just a little bit. You'll see what happens. Pipe to slide along, select that one. Distance to slide, in this case, I know I want to move them a -5 meters. and it's going to move that one, and it's going to grab the other one. But the wastewater is actually moved a little bit in sideways because it's sliding along the green pipe there. But they're both coming along. And we can use this for service pipes as well. Because if I move a service pipe label, it's just going to move the label. It's not going to move the end there. So if I want to move this in parallel, then I use slide structure. Select both the pipe and the label, click enter, pipe to slide along. And then I use pick points, because then I just get, okay, I want to move it over here. And it's going to slide the pipe to that point. So these two are nice ways of sort of editing your pipe networks, and these work for all our gravity pipes that you want to do. Good. So I actually had one more thing that I need to show you, because we did a lot of work with rename layers as well. So I'm going to open my rename. I'm going to open a brand new drawing, because we have a functionality that we can use to import layers. So I'm just going to open my layer list, and I'm going to import a layer list. This is a layer list that I've created, and it's a version of what we have in Naviate right now. And I'm just going to import the layer. This is basically built in Excel, these layers. But in the description, I have a code where I have a hashtag and I have a colon. And those two are the important part here, because that means that with our rename layers, it's going to find those, and it's going to tell me that I have two codes in these descriptions. So if I have this hashtag and colon, and I have them in two places, the function knows that, okay, these two are codings. So I can use those two codings, and I can rename my layer to that code. So right now I have code class in my layer. I can have an example here so I can see what I do. I can see that I have SB11 as my layer, and I'm going to switch it to code class. So I'm going to select code class in this dialog, click rename, and then it's going to rename all of my layers to the other code. The codes are still here though. We're still storing the code in the description, so I can switch this backwards and forwards how I want, but depending on how I want this to be, sort of while I'm working, I can have more clear text, and then when I'm going to deliver, I can have a more codified layer name. We can also, if I do this again, I can also, if I just have my code, I'm going to say truncate. So I can say remove all this coding, but I'm done with everything. I don't want to have the codes here. I just want to have description, and then I can just do rename, and it's going to truncate the description. So I only have the description for it. I still have the naming there that I want to do. So now I've removed all my codings. Now I need to redo it again, or go back for it. So that was the rename functionality that we have added. If you don't have this coding, it's easier to export layers, and then you can add the code in CSV that you want to do.
Eric has a question there. Can you switch back to the code you had before?
The one that I had here, let's see if I can undo. Let's see what it looks like. If I do rename, it's only finding the codes here. So right now in this example that I actually have one of the codes in the name that I have in this code class. So we're not storing the name if that is something different. So the idea is that you need to have the codes that you're going to use should be a part of the description, because those are the ones that we can use to sort of rename. So one of the codes should be one of the names, or should be the name for the layer. Then you can switch between them if you want to. Of course, I'm taking much more time than I thought I was going to do, but direction sign, we added a formula. So if you're using traffic, if you're using direction sign, we did add a formula. So I'm just going to pick this one up, so that if I add a text here and I add a longer name, for instance, I can use my formula to calculate how wide this should be. So if you add if you're in a value field, we have the calculator up here. So the calculator will open a formula field, and I have a formula here that's called arrow width, basically. And this one adds the information specifically for this arrow. But I need to have one distance, and that distance is the text. So I can pick here to get the text like that. And then it's adding the text value there. It's adding 1 times the margin, which in this case is the arrow, because that's how I stored it. And then it's adding 2 times the border. And it's adding that as a value here. And once I hit OK, it's going to add this value to my panel width. So it's a way of calculating the width depending on what you have. I can also say that, well, I need this to be rounded up to the closest 50, because that's how you build the design, for instance. And that is going to be the width for it. So all of these formula values, you can use the calculator to do different calculations on how to, on different widths that you want to have. If you're interested in this, if this feels like something you might use, feel free to contact me and we can go more into depth on how it works. Almost within time, Thomas.
Almost.
Almost. Are you ready to continue?
I am ready to continue. So let's do sharing there. So we're back on my slides here. We have another new thing in traffic, 3D science from 2D blocks. I'm going to show that one later. I'm going to move over to updated features. Caroline just showed this one, rename layers to support multiple standards in the new dialog. And what I'm going to show now is create subsurface improvements. And I'm also, because Subsurface kind of is friends with line set. So I'm going to now show subsurface improvements and line set improvements. The line set improvements are ability to select the template file. We have now find and replace, and we have copy multiple. So let's have a look at those features. And I'll try to be quick. So let's see, moving over here, back to this one. So first I have a surface, created a surface here. It's a totally flat surface, very simple one. And what I'm going to do is use the subsurface command. It's been there for a while. We improved it. Some things previous version and some things in this one. I'm going to use the FG surface. So this is this one here. So what's been improved is the things here. Add daylight slope offsets on and off. That one didn't really work in the previous version. We fixed that one. And also recently we added create solids. It was actually in the previous version before this one. So I'm going to create, I'm actually going to use a UK so the UK people also can understand what it does. So what this one does, it's actually lowering one of my surfaces, creating subsurfaces below that one. And it's adding offset. So it's sloping outside. Now I'm showing with my hands, but you can't see me. It's more or less creating the slopes going down from this surface and creating subsurfaces like a shoulder. So let's see what this one does. I can create a final sloped surface, but that's going to hide everything for me. So I'm going to skip this one, but that's going to be the ditch back to the surface if I go below the surface. We can create volume surfaces for volume calculations. That's very good to do, but let's just look at this, creating the solids. So what it does now, and now we see once again the beauty in our Naviate hide surface command. I can hide it very quickly. If I want to turn it on again, let's turn Naviate command objects on off, and you're going to have the surfaces here. You can turn those on and off again. Oh, it was that one, sorry. There and there. It's back. So looking into the solids, so now created the solids, and as you saw, we'll see here the slope as in a shoulder, so it's sloping outwards. Let's select all of them there. And there we can see the different solids slopes. And notice that you can also update. If you change the surface, you can actually update them there. And also this command, so we actually have a solid from surface command. I'll briefly show that one. So solid from surface. So this one allows you also to create solids from multiple surfaces. You can select multiple surfaces, and we will create a thickness on those or between two surfaces. So those actually were in somewhat new in the previous version. Let's head on to the line set, and here we have some beautiful and much requested news. First thing we're going to show, I think that quite a few of you that's used line set don't know that you can select the surface. Actually, now it's going to be, this is going to be my bottom or my FG surface. So I can grade from a surface. I don't think that most of you knew that. So now it's following that one, and I'm going to shift now. So notice, so this is brand new here. Open. So I can now open any templates. I can have multiple templates saved. And Caroline created Naviate grading template stairs. So if I select that one, I'm going to have a lot of stairs templates in here. So I'm going to pick the one here, and so let's, maybe I took the wrong, I think I failed to select the correct surface, I guess. Just to be sure that that's the one, come on. Yeah, that's the one. I'll do it once again. Come on, start the grading command, pick that surface. There's no other surface there, right? Yes, there. Okay, now I should see it. Yeah. So I picked one that was out of my surface, and then I can't project to the surface because I picked to another of the object. So looking at these 6 stairs, you see them increasing. We have 6 stairs with landing, so that one expands. If I use this button here, hide dialog to change zoom, I can go in here and zoom and maybe pan a little bit. It is a bit tricky there, but so another feature now is when we have a lot of stairs in this line set, the problem can be, I want to change. So we now have find replace. I want to change the depth or a relative elevation. So I'm going to do change all relative elevations from 0.15 to 0.25, and it says 10 has been changed, and you notice that it now updates accordingly. So and in this one now I created a solid object, so now I can select the solid, and I could of course use the model viewer, but I'm going to use the object viewer because I'm just going to rotate this one. And you notice that we have another datum surface actually created in this one, so we see different from the top, from the bottom. Those are new kind of rules that we have in the grading or line set command. And I'm going to continue with this one here now. I'm going to do a similar kind of feature. I'm going to zoom in. I think it's there somewhere. And I'm now going to create, and I'm going to use a Swedish template now. So I'm going to change template, and apologies for us over drawing the time. So I'm going to use that one. I'm going to shift to this one. It's going to be a traffic island. So let's rename this one. I want to call it traffic. No, I'm going to call it island 1. Yeah, and I'm going to use that one. Okay, so I think I can, yeah, I need to project it to my corridor top. And once I leave, you can see that that one appears there. And if I do apply, then the surface and the solids will be built. So, yeah, there they are. So now let's actually copy. So let's see here. I'm going to copy the gradings. So this has been changed as well. Select similar. Question is if I've got this to work actually. Yes, I did. Okay. I'm going to copy. Oh, once again. Select my targets. And what we improved was the possibility to copy to similar objects. So I'm going to copy this set to all of my areas. So now you see it's been applied to multiple areas here now. Okay, so, and it's been multiplied with all my different surfaces and so on here. So my last things were to come over to row design. And I'm going to look at corridor import, now import, or corridor copy, now import surfaces. Profile views from alignment supports existing profiles. An alignment label group supporting station equations. Those were on my final things here. So bear with me, please. So corridor copy, this command was introduced maybe a year ago or something. It allows me to copy either a corridor or move a region. So what I'm going to do first in this command, in this corridor, I'm going to split it at 100, station 100, and I'm going to rebuild it. Now this one has a couple of surfaces in it. So notice that I now have corridor 1 datum, corridor 1 top there. And so we've had the possibility of copying or merging or splitting corridors. So this one allows me to take this region and maybe move it to either an existing or a new one. I'm going to call that one corridor 2 without the parentheses. And now we have added the setting start corridor settings to allow to copy frequency, surfaces, slope patterns, and so from the target corridor. So now it's going to split those two regions into two different corridors. And once it's done that, it's going to open the corridor settings. It's that command there actually, and in which we now allow to copy from corridors within the same drawing. So I can copy from my new corridor 2. I say copy the surfaces from corridor 1, and also the slope pattern settings I had in this one. I've hidden them, but they are going to appear in my corridor 2 soon. There you see the slope patterns appearing, and in here I have corridor 2 top and datum as well. We also talked about the feature to create multiple profile views. I now used offset alignment just to get some more alignments in here, and that's just to show we had some requests in our create profile from multiple alignments. That command required you to select a surface to create new profile views. But right now I don't have to create any surfaces, any new surfaces, because we have a lot of people using data shortcuts for surface profiles, because the surfaces themselves are too large to deref. And now all I need to do is click OK. I don't have to create new surface profiles, which was the intention earlier. Now we just create the profile views in here and add the profiles in there. Okay, last thing may be interesting for you that work with the rail, and that is the possibility to work with station equations. And in rail, we have the strange thing that a rail kilometer is not always 1,000 meters. So I'm just going to remove these test labels I have here. And you will see the strange thing here: 4960, 4980, 41,000. 500. Why is this? Well, it's because we in rail design sometimes need to change the station, and sometimes, as I said, a station or a kilometer is actually longer than 1,000 meters. And then we come to the issue of labeling these. So that's the main objective here. So with our command to create alignment label group, which allows us to follow one alignment for offset, but take the stations from another, because sometimes you want to have all labels aligned, even though you want to follow maybe a widening or something in your alignment. So this one needs to follow this alignment, place the labels there, but take the stationing from this one, the center alignment here, and we need to follow the station equations. So we added the drop down to follow station equations, because the brain goes nuts when you start saying a kilometer is not 1,000 meters. So we spend a lot of time analyzing this one, and we now support it. So I can say, create my first kilometer values, and it's going to insert them using that one. And in this functionality, unfortunately, we need to select the reference alignment here to make the labels show, because the Civil API doesn't allow us to set that one. And let's continue doing the second station. So it starts at 5,000, which actually is 5,010. It's so interesting, and I'll create that one as well, and I'll set the label on that one as well there. So now it starts there at 5,000, which actually is 5,010. Yeah, so for railing, very important things, especially in the Nordics. Maybe you do the same in UK. Maybe you can let me know, Trevor, is this a case with station equations and rail in UK as well? We're going to continue working with these rail things, import and export to LandXML to support the station equations, and also presentation in profile view is one request coming from Finland, especially in this case. Okay. I think those were the things we wanted to talk about today. We had prepared information about the versionings we've had. We just want to let you know this is one version. We've been working with that one for only 2 months. Previously in 25, we released these different news with new features, updated features. Same in 24, we updated these features. So you see, we have varying focus on different modules, but it is continuously updating. If you want to see more about our news, we would recommend you to go to naviate.com. I'm going to open this one here as well, where you can go to resources and release news. In there, you see we just released 2026, so those news are in there. And you say you want to see the news for civil, and you can see the different versions. 25.3, probably if you continue scrolling here, you're going to 25.2, so you can follow and find the news that's been added. Okay, Caroline, anything to add? Any questions? Anything I missed?
No, I think you covered all of it very good. So that's good.
Okay, so thanks for staying. Some of you hang along all the time. Thank you very much for that. Any questions or suggestions or ideas, and so please feel free to contact us and let us know. Thanks, Caroline. Thank you, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.